In a world where everything seems to speed up and the pressure to consume grows more intense with each passing day, there's an alternative we can embrace. It's called living the slow life. It might sound simple, but its impact is profound, particularly for those of us who have witnessed decades of change and now find ourselves longing for something quieter and more meaningful. As we age, many of us begin to question the endless cycle of consumerism that once seemed so vital. As we grow older, we begin to see more clearly that material possessions don't hold the same value they once did. In our younger years, society led us to believe that accumulating more meant achieving success. We were constantly surrounded by advertisements pushing us to buy more, own more, and be more. Yet, as time goes on, many of us come to understand that true happiness isn't tied to what we own. Our modern society is intricately woven around consumerism. The message is always clear: buy into the system, and you're part of it. The latest tech gadget, the newest car model, and the dream vacation are all sold to us as the ultimate keys to happiness. But the reality is, consuming doesn't fulfill the deeper needs we have within ourselves. We live in an era where nearly everything is monetized, and for those of us who remember a time when life felt slower, it can feel overwhelming. But there is an escape from this pressure to consume. We don't have to participate in this race anymore. In fact, as we get older, it's not only acceptable to step back, but it's often necessary for our well-being. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim control over our lives is by reducing the clutter around us. Let me tell you about a personal experience that changed my perspective. A few years ago, I made the decision to downsize. I sold my large house and moved on to a narrowboat. For those who aren't familiar, narrowboats are small, measuring just 50 feet long and about 7 feet wide. There's hardly any room for possessions. This forced me to make difficult decisions about what to keep and what to leave behind. I couldn't bring everything, and at first it felt like an impossible task. I had accumulated so many things over the years: boxes of forgotten items, kitchen appliances I hadn't used in ages, even 5 coffee makers. I still don't know why. But something remarkable happened as I started letting go of these things. I began to feel lighter, as though I wasn't just releasing material possessions, but also emotional burdens. Moving into a smaller space with only what I truly needed gave me a sense of freedom I hadn't experienced in years. It felt as though a weight had been lifted, much like the myth of Atlas shrugging off the sky. Even if you're not planning to downsize or move to a smaller home, I encourage you to take the time to go through your belongings, your kitchen, closets, or garage, and get rid of things that no longer serve you. You'll be amazed at how much better you feel with less. Simplifying your environment often leads to a simpler, clearer mind. Now, let's talk about capitalism, a system that, in many ways, works quite well. Businesses create products and services that make our lives easier, and they earn a fair profit in return. For example, if someone bakes bread and sells it to me for a price that's higher than the cost of ingredients, I don't mind paying because I understand the value of their labor. But the problem arises when consumption becomes a never-ending cycle, when we start buying for the sake of buying. Capitalism thrives on competition, and that's what drives prices down and improves quality. But it also encourages a constant chase for the next thing, the next product, the latest trend, the newest experience. As we age, we realize that these things are often unnecessary. Life is not about owning the latest phone or having the trendiest wardrobe. It's about the moments we share, the relationships we build, and the quiet reflections we have in between. Living simply in a world that constantly demands more is a bold choice. Most people are caught in the whirlwind of consumer culture, always on the go, always chasing something new. If you choose to step off that treadmill, you may find yourself in the minority. But being in the minority can be incredibly rewarding. When you decide to live with less, to remove the constant need for more possessions, your perception of life changes. You begin to notice the things that once passed you by: the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the stillness that brings a deep sense of peace. These are the moments that cannot be bought, yet they offer far more satisfaction than anything material. So, as we continue navigating this fast-paced, consumer-driven world, consider this alternative. Slow down. Give yourself permission to step away from the constant pressure to consume. Simplify your surroundings and your life. Embrace the freedom that comes with owning less and living more fully in the present. The pursuit of happiness doesn't lie in the next purchase, but in the moments of peace, the relationships we cultivate, and the quiet reflections that allow us to feel grounded and truly content. Living simply is not about depriving yourself of life's pleasures. It's about being intentional with the choices you make. It's a way of focusing on what genuinely brings you happiness, while letting go of everything else. In today's fast-paced world, where more and more is constantly being pushed upon us, the key is slowing down and truly appreciating what we have, instead of relentlessly chasing after what we think we need. At first, this lifestyle may seem out of place. You might feel like you're an outsider, and your friends or family may not understand why you've chosen to live with less. However, over time, the sense of peace and contentment that comes from simplifying your life will far outweigh any initial discomfort. The freedom gained from consuming less and moving at a slower pace will become invaluable. What was once seen as unconventional or even strange may soon reveal itself as a fulfilling way of living, one that nurtures deeper joy and personal growth. As we grow older, our sense of happiness shifts. The extravagant experiences we once sought no longer hold the same appeal. Instead, we begin to find joy in life's simpler pleasures. A warm cup of tea enjoyed on a chilly morning, the quiet comfort of spending time with loved ones, or the peaceful sight of birds fluttering by. These are the moments that start to mean the most. They're often the ones we once overlooked or took for granted when we were younger. This is the heart of slow living, finding richness in the small, everyday moments that are free and uncomplicated. Without the constant noise of consumerism, you may discover new interests and hobbies. Maybe you'll start growing your own vegetables or plant a flower garden. Perhaps you'll dust off that book you've always wanted to read or rediscover a craft you loved but didn't have the time for. When you cut through the clutter of unnecessary purchases, you create space for these simple joys. These experiences, while small, can provide a lasting sense of fulfillment far beyond anything material possessions can offer. But let's be honest, the temptation to buy things is everywhere. Even after deciding to embrace a slower, simpler life, the lure of consumerism is strong. You'll still find yourself faced with the impulse to make purchases, whether it's an irresistible sale or just the fleeting satisfaction of owning something new. How many times have we all browsed online, not needing anything, but still ending up with an overflowing shopping cart? This is the power of consumerism. It tricks us into thinking we need things we don't. The satisfaction it offers is often short-lived. Here's the good news, though. Just like any other habit, the more you practice resisting the urge to buy, the easier it becomes. The key is to start small. Try going one day without making any purchases. Then try 2 days, then a week. Gradually, you'll notice that your desire to constantly consume begins to fade. Over time, you'll start to appreciate what you already have, and you'll find a deeper peace in the simplicity of life. As you reduce the time and money spent on buying things, you may realize you now have more room in your life, physically and emotionally. With this newfound space, what will you do? The possibilities are endless, but the goal is to fill it with activities that bring meaning and joy. Maybe you'll take up knitting or enjoy daily walks in the park. Perhaps you'll spend more time with your family, telling stories and sharing the lessons you've learned throughout your life. Maybe you'll dedicate more time to a creative project or a hobby you've always loved but never had time to pursue. These activities, though simple, are incredibly rewarding, and they don't come with a price tag. Living a slow, intentional life in today's world is not without its challenges. There will be resistance, not just from others, but also from within. We've been conditioned to believe that happiness and success are tied to material possessions. Society pushes this narrative because it benefits those in power. After all, the more we consume, the more they profit. Choosing a different path, one that goes against this system, can feel uncomfortable. You may experience moments of doubt, or even feel misunderstood by friends or family who continue to live according to the old ways. But don't be discouraged. The discomfort you feel is temporary. The rewards of living simply and intentionally are well worth the initial challenges. Over time, you will find that society's pressures to consume lose their grip on you. You'll gain confidence in knowing that you're living life on your own terms, rather than trying to meet external expectations. The deeper sense of fulfillment and inner peace that comes with this lifestyle will become more evident, and it will continue to grow. It's important to remember that the simple life isn't about rejecting everything modern or avoiding technology. It's about making mindful choices that align with your values. It's about consciously deciding what brings you joy and prioritizing those things, rather than getting caught up in the whirlwind of consumer culture. It's about reconnecting with the things that truly matter, like relationships, creativity, and personal growth, and letting go of the constant drive for more. As you continue on this journey, you'll find that the life you've always wanted was right there in front of you all along, quietly waiting to be embraced. And with each step you take toward simplicity, you'll experience a richness and depth of happiness that no material possession could ever provide. Living in alignment with your values may not always be easy, but it is unquestionably worth it. One of the most powerful advantages of adopting a slower pace of life is the financial freedom it offers. When you stop chasing after things that aren't essential, you naturally start saving. That saved money can then be directed towards things that truly matter, whether that's traveling to visit family, prioritizing your health, or simply building a safety net for the future. By embracing a simpler lifestyle, you reduce the financial pressures many of us face as we grow older. Instead of tirelessly working to sustain a consumer-driven existence, you can focus on enjoying the fruits of your labor and cherishing the things that genuinely bring joy. Over time, you may even realize that the income you thought you needed for a fulfilling life is far less than you imagined. As we age, reflection becomes an inevitable part of the journey. We look back at the choices we've made, the paths we've taken, and the lessons we've learned. A slow, simple life offers the space needed to engage in this reflection in a meaningful way. When I think back on my own experiences, I don't regret the purchases I didn't make or the trends I chose not to follow. What I value most are the moments spent with loved ones, the quiet joys, and the deep peace that comes from living in alignment with my own values. Sure, there have been mistakes along the way, but looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. The path I've chosen, one that is slow, intentional, and minimally focused on materialism, has led me to a place of contentment that no material possession ever could. As we reach the later stages of life, we often start thinking about the legacy we'll leave behind. What do we hope people will remember us for? For me, it's not about the things I own or the material wealth I accumulate. It's about the values I've lived by: simplicity, mindfulness, and an appreciation for what truly matters. I want my children and grandchildren to learn from my example, not in terms of things I had, but in how I live my life. I hope they'll understand that true happiness doesn't come from accumulating more, but from embracing life's simple joys. And I hope they'll carry those lessons forward, finding their own paths to peace and contentment, just as I have. Prioritizing health and well-being becomes more critical as we age. In a society that often places more value on productivity and material success than on personal well-being, it can be easy to neglect our health. But slow living encourages us to focus on both mental and physical health by making time for rest, self-care, and mindfulness. When we slow down, we're giving ourselves the opportunity to truly listen to our bodies. We begin to notice when we need to rest, when we need movement, and when we need nourishing food or positive experiences. This heightened awareness is one of the greatest benefits of living a slower life. Rather than pushing ourselves beyond our limits to meet an ever-growing list of demands, we start prioritizing staying active, eating well, and nurturing our mental health. For many, this shift also fosters a stronger connection with nature. Whether it's through taking regular walks in the park, gardening, or simply enjoying the fresh air outside, time spent in nature offers tremendous health benefits. Research has shown that being in natural environments lowers stress levels, reduces blood pressure, and enhances mental clarity. In the context of a slow life, health isn't just something we take care of occasionally, it becomes a central priority. With less pressure to keep up with the hectic pace of modern life, we can focus on the most important thing of all, our well-being. By caring for ourselves in this way, we can enjoy a higher quality of life, not just now, but for many years to come. Choosing to embrace a slower, simpler life isn't always the easiest route, but it's undoubtedly one of the most rewarding. It allows us to step away from the constant cycle of consumption and instead turn our attention to the things that matter most: our relationships, our experiences, and our inner peace. For those of us in the later stages of life, this way of living offers an opportunity to reflect on what truly matters, to let go of the unnecessary, and to live with a sense of contentment and fulfillment. It's a journey that's worth taking, and I invite you to come along for the ride. Thank you for watching this video. If this story resonated with you and you find it inspiring, let me know by commenting a 1. If you didn't feel the same way, comment a 0. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and I truly appreciate the time you've taken to watch and reflect. I hope that the ideas shared here inspire you to take action in your own life. So if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and join me on this journey. You're not alone in this quest for a simpler, more fulfilling life. Let's keep growing together.